good social relationships are more effective at stopping us dying than giving up smoking, drinking, diet, exercise, and anything else you care to mention.
Orbiting 250 miles above, the space station provides us with the ultimate view of planet Earth. From this perspective, we ask our guests to engage with 6 questions that orbit around wonder and stories of hopefulness. For the next few minutes, this is our Wonderspace.
Welcome to the 130th episode of the Wonderspace Podcast. My name is Steve Cole, and over the past 3.5 years, I have asked the same 6 questions to amazing people from around the world. Questions that orbit around wonder and stories of hopefulness. We started during the COVID lockdown to enlarge people's vision and perspective and remind everyone that alongside crisis and emergency are always mind-blowing wonders of the natural world and hopeful stories that have the potential to fuel us and energize us, even in the most challenging of times. Before I introduce our guest this week, here is another 1-minute wonder from Ask Nature, who are part of the Biomimicry Institute.
Chinstrap penguins face unique ecological challenges, particularly when they must guard their nests against predatory birds like the brown skua. To meet these demands, they have developed an extraordinary adaptation in how they sleep. Chinstrap penguins employ a strategy of frequent, ultra-short bouts of sleep known as microsleeps. On average, the microsleeps last a mere 4 seconds, but they add up to more than 11 hours total per day. Some naps rest one hemisphere of the brain at a time, others rest the whole brain at once. This unique strategy may inspire innovative sleep strategies for humans who require heightened vigilance during specific tasks or professions, such as healthcare workers and emergency responders.
This week on Wonderspace, we ask our 6 questions to Julian Abel. Julian is a retired palliative care physician and the director of Compassionate Communities UK, whose vision is to see a world where people's natural gifts of compassion, togetherness and equity are more powerful than medicine alone. Julian hosts a podcast called Survival of the Kindest and was nominated by our previous guest on Wonderspace, Jennifer Nadel from Compassion in Politics. Great to have you on board, Julian. Thank you so much for orbiting on Wonderspace with us today. So from this overview of Earth, where we see everything with a different perspective, if we could do a fly past over any part of the world that is significant to you, which place, city or country would it be and why?
There are a few magical places. I mean, loads of places are magical, but ones that are particularly kind of significant to me. One of them is near Wentworth Falls in Australia, in New South Wales. Wentworth Falls is it's just on the edge of the bush, and it overlooks what's called the Three Sisters. The bush extends from the southern part of Australia all the way up to the top. It's like a few thousand miles long of this incredible forest. And you can walk from Wentworth Falls, which is fairly suburban, it's not nondescript, but it's a suburban Australian setting. And you just walk into the bush. And it's like you walk across a road and you walk into the bush. And that moment of walking into the bush is just such an amazing moment of like, you felt like the whole of the bush was somehow expecting you, and it's like this place has been sung into existence and every single living thing there has a place. It's like you've entered into this wonderland. Amazing.
Oh, that's so good. Brilliant. So Julian, give us a glimpse into your life story so far, with an emphasis on what you are doing currently.
So, I'm a retired palliative care clinician, and I got interested a while ago in what's called compassionate communities. What's happened with palliative care is that it got largely professionalized. It's like a service that swings into place if you have a particular kind of illness. But death, dying, loss and caregiving has been something that is embedded for the whole of humanity, and we've looked after each other. And so I got interested in that aspect of palliative care about, death, dying, loss and caregiving happens in schools, workplaces, educational institutions, public spaces, and religious organizations. It happens everywhere. Where there are people, there are, people who are affected by death, dying, loss and caregiving. And it's a support that we can all give that makes a difference. But in 2016, I was doing some work in Somerset around taking this approach forward. And I came across a local town to me at the time called Frome. And they'd applied this approach in healthcare as a whole. And it was clear that we were doing the same thing. So we kind of joined up. And after a few months, we thought, well, we wonder if this is doing any good. And to cut a long story short, we came across some of the outcomes. We looked at emergency admissions for the whole of the people of Frome compared to that of the rest of Somerset. And we found that emergency admissions dropped by 15% in Frome and gone up by 30% in Somerset. And there are no interventions which have ever reduced whole population emergency admissions. Governments have given up doing it. And yet it's because of compassionate communities. And since then, I've been just digging deeper and deeper into this. And it turns out that survival of the fittest is some kind of Victorian nightmare not invented by Darwin, that actually our biology is survival of the kindest, that when you look for the hallmarks of kindness, care, cooperation and compassion, you find it throughout the animal kingdom. 600 million years of animal evolution. And humans, the most social of animals, is like 2 million years of human evolution. And our basic nature is good. And so when you make use of that, it is no surprise that the results are so transformative. So aside from living in Cornwall, this charity that we run, Compassionate Communities UK, has got those two arms. One is about how you make death, dying, loss and caregiving everyone's responsibility, like supporting friends, supporting colleagues, supporting schoolmates, whatever it is. But there's also this other thing, which is it's really about revolutionizing medicine, because good social relationships are more effective at stopping us dying than giving up smoking, drinking, diet, exercise, and anything else you care to mention. We've got something called the Compassionate City Charter, and that's happening internationally. And we've got a very, very large project going on in the US and Colombia. The Surgeon General is a top doctor in the US, and the Surgeon General has just issued an advisory on social connection. That this business of social connection is becoming deeply embedded. And his advisory is an enormous piece of work, really emphasizing that we need to embed social connection into our lives and into our healthcare. And the transformative impacts can be seen in so many different places. So yes, there's a lot going on. You don't necessarily hear a lot about it, but it's still going on, and it's affecting millions of people, and the impacts will grow as it develops into the future.
So good. And Julian, with all these plates that are spinning, where for you is your place of reset or recharge?
Quite a few places, but the ocean is definitely one of them. I love to go surfing. Home, I live in the back end of nowhere. It's very peaceful, very beautiful. Walk the dogs, run with the dogs on the cliffs, and definitely a place of recharge that I always appreciate coming back to when I've been away.
And what wonder of the natural world excites you the most?
the meeting place between the land and the sea. There's something so elemental about it, and all over the world, this meeting place is you've got, the sky and air and sea and sun and the land. It's so elemental.
Yeah, so good. And Julian, what is your story of hopefulness that's not your own, about a person, business or non-profit who are doing amazing things for the world?
I think that we can find good reason for hope inside each and every one of us. And the reason for this is that when you go back to the hunter-gatherer setting, we survived in small groups of 25 to 100 people. And we didn't survive by beating our chest and killing the people in our clan, because if we did that, we simply wouldn't survive, which means that we survive by care and cooperation. It's part of our evolution. It's contained in our emotions. It's contained in our genomics. It's just contained everywhere. What this means is that every single human being has got the capacity and the potential for kindness and compassion. And I think one of the kind of major changes that we need to see is about letting people know that everyone is basically good, that there is this incredible treasure that we all possess, that bringing it to light in our lives is transformative in so many different ways. And if you want to lead a long, healthy, happy life, it's all about connection and relationships, and the science of this is now well described. I think there is an increasing worldwide movement which recognizes this, and that we need to say that survival of the fittest is a Victorian nightmare that benefits people in power and is not a description of our evolution. And the consequences of it are increasing inequality and our world going to pot. We can see it everywhere with environmental destruction already in place. And if we're going to do anything about it, we need to make use of this treasure inside us, and we need to make sure that happens in business, in politics, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our workplaces. It needs to happen everywhere, and it's recognition of the qualities in each and every one of us.
Extraordinary. You were nominated by Jennifer Nadel, who we both think the world of compassion in politics, and she was a guest previously. And it's just so good to see the work happening in the grassroots of politics, in the hidden and the unseen, in striving towards a more compassionate politics. Where else in society alongside the political sphere are you seeing glimpses of hopefulness in industry, in business, in politics? Where are you seeing it?
Well, one of the things that we do around Compassionate Cities is we bring a team of people together to start looking at what they can do to support people during times of ill health, death, dying, loss, and caregiving. And we find when people get going with this, you see incredible stuff. You see it in prisons, in homelessness, in neighborhoods, in schools, and it is about people supporting people. It's like the road less traveled. Where does it take you? And people get on this road, and it's a journey of wonder. One of the first cities that we certified as a compassionate city is Birmingham, and the stories of the stuff that's going on in Birmingham. It's not that everything is perfect in Birmingham, it's that this work has started, and that's the point.
Amazing. You're talking about my home city there.
There you go.
That's good to hear. Fantastic. So our final question on Wonderspace that we've asked 129 people is, as we prepare to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, what insight, wisdom, or question would you like to leave with us?
Every single one of us can add to the universe by making use of our compassionate potential. Every single one of us can recognize our own compassionate potential and put it to use. And that is the magic of transformation in our lives.
Amazing. And for us who want to find out more, who want to engage with compassionate communities, where do we go? Where do we find out more information?
Go to Compassionate Communities UK, which is our website, and you can find all kinds of resources and information and see how you can engage and discover more. And I also run a podcast called Survival of the Kindest. We've had the most fantastic guests on there from all over the world, from world-leading scientists to indigenous leaders to documentary makers to educationalists to, everything. And when you start looking out for these stories, they are incredible.
I want to thank Julian for coming on board Wonderspace this week and for engaging with our 6 questions. As Julian said, the results of kindness, care, cooperation and compassion are transformative, and we all have a role to play in this. Thanks for listening.